Hey, amazing ladies. Are you ready to level up your life in 2025? I am truly excited to announce my new mastermind, Live, Love, and Thrive. An opportunity for you to not only level up your life or business, start a new business or passion project, and connect to amazing women who will support you and encourage you to live the life of your dreams. Meet other incredible female entrepreneurs and business owners, gain insight on new opportunities to grow your business, connect and network, and grow beyond anything you thought was possible. If you are truly ready to make 2025 the best year of your life, it's time to live, love, and thrive together. Reach out to me on social media or my website at jenmentasana.com to explore this very special, exclusive, and carefully curated mastermind opportunity. Welcome to Where Passion Meets Purpose. I'm your host, Jen Mentasana. On this show, we help busy moms and entrepreneurs find more passion and purpose in their daily lives through inspiring stories and interviews. Hi there, welcome back to Where Passion Meets Purpose. Today we have Amanda Soukoulis. She is a certified nutrition coach and she is focused on helping women focus on their optimal health. She's also an incredible athlete and she's going to share her story today of how she got focused on functional medicine and helping others focus on their health as well. Thank you so much, Amanda, for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited for our conversation today.
Me too. Well, you're just a doll. And I remember the first time I met you, you came bouncing up to me and we had this great conversation and connected about dance and our passion for dance and our passion for just loving expressing ourselves through dance. And so I was immediately drawn to you. Mm-hmm. And then as I got to learn your story throughout the past year, I'm just so inspired what you're doing every day for women and individuals, helping them focus on their optimal health and getting really in tune with the core issues that are maybe going on with their body before it becomes a real issue. And so I would love to kind of have you take us back a little bit to your story of how you got started in functional medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always cared about my health. I grew up, I played every single sport known to man. I danced in college for Penn State, and then I was a finalist for a handful of professional cheerleading teams. And obviously to get to that level, you have to care about your body. And so, I'd done all the right things. I had trained properly. I had learned how to fuel my body properly. And I was a finalist for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and got cut right there at the very end. And in the months that followed, I actually ended up catching a bacterial pathogen and it just wreaked havoc on my body. And so what happened was, first, my energy had just plummeted out of nowhere. And I wear this biometric tracking system on my wrist, and it's called a Whoop, and it tracks your heart rate variability. And what I saw was my heart rate variability went from the 90s all the way down to the 60s. And there's no good or bad range to be in. It's just the higher, the better. And so it tells you how balanced and ready your nervous system is to take on the day. So obviously my HRV drops. I'm looking at this. I said, I haven't changed my diet. I haven't really changed my training. What is going on with my body? Mm-hmm. Then in the months that followed that, the brain fog came over me and I couldn't focus. I literally was not productive at the job I was at. I was really struggling mentally, emotionally, because I couldn't get answers. And I went to one doctor, dismissed, went to a functional doctor, dismissed, went to my OB for my yearly wellness checkup. And she's like, well, we can run labs. So, we ran some really basic labs and nothing really came up. And, I said, okay, well, I'm going to go figure this out on my own then. And so in the months that followed, I found functional medicine and we ran comprehensive labs. We found out then that I had caught a bacterial pathogen that was in my gut. My hormones were all out of whack. They were postmenopausal at a very young age. And when I had gone back to my OB to say, hey, this is what I got back in my Dutch test, what do you think of this? What do we need to do? Like, I'm a little bit worried that my estrogen levels are that low. She said, well, are you trying to get pregnant right now? And I looked at her and I said, are you kidding me? Like, no, I'm not trying to get pregnant. And she said, well, then I don't really care right now unless you're trying to get pregnant. So totally dismissed by that doctor. And I know she was well intentioned, but I said, okay, if we're going to find a solution, it's going to be up to me. And so that's when I really doubled down. I started doing a ton of research on the gut microbiome, started doing a ton of research on how that impacts your nervous system, how that impacts your brain. And from my healing journey, I said, okay, I don't want another woman to suffer the way that I've suffered, because it was horrible. It was so demoralizing. It was so frustrating because I had just been at the pinnacle of my health and then just felt like it was ripped out from under me overnight.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, just listening to your story and being so young that you are, I mean, this is a typical journey, unfortunately, in, our medicine world today, where women who are perimenopausal or postmenopausal go through a lot of this. They go through doctor after doctor figuring out what's going on with their body and why their hormones aren't working. And the doctors will say, well, we ran all your labs and you look normal, so nothing's wrong with you, when you know deep down something's going on with you and you have no diagnosis. It's really frustrating. And so a lot of women that are in their 40s and 50s are turning to functional medicine and to functional medicine doctors and, even, health and hormone coaches to figure out the answers, because the traditional medicine route is just not getting to the bottom of it. But you're going through this young, like you were still in your 20s?
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so you get to this point where you're like, I have to figure this out. And were you able to heal yourself through a process?
Yeah. So we got the lab results back and then we systematically worked our way through the body and, first calmed down my adrenals because my adrenals were shot. We prepared the body for the flush and went through, healed my gut. And then after my gut was healed, all of a sudden I ran more comprehensive labs on myself and I found out that I had caught black mold. And so that's part 2 of my story. My energy had plummeted a little bit. Wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. And because I had seen an upward trend in my health, and then all of a sudden it was stagnant and a little bit kind of dropping off again. And because I started coaching other women, I believe that I need to try everything myself first. I'm never going to tell someone to do something that I haven't tried. And so I was making sure that I tested myself on every single functional lab that there is that I run for my clients. And so I happened to get a mycotoxins test, and sure enough, black mold came back. I had 8 different strands of mold. And so that was part 2 of my healing journey. And, I think that it's one of those things where I had to not only go through the part 1, but also part 2, because it allows me now to be able to connect with that many more women.
Yep, absolutely. And as we know, we talk about this a lot in this field that, and I'll use the term God because I believe and have strong faith that God gives us challenges that we need to overcome so that we can learn and help others, right? That we don't experience pain and suffering for no purpose. And so usually if you can look at yourself and say, what is it that I'm going through and what am I supposed to learn and how am I going to use this to help someone else? It can ease the pain a little bit and the understanding of why me, right? And yeah, so what you do now for women is so amazing. And you really have a deep understanding of, how the body works. You're also super smart. Did you go to UPenn or a Penn State?
Penn State.
Penn State, yeah. I mean, you're a very well-educated girl. I think you have you were a CPA at one point, so you have all the knowledge and the background and the education, and then you brought it together with this passion for functional medicine and really getting to the bottom of health and how to help others. So super inspiring how you've been able to, correlate all of these experiences in your life and bring this together for your clients. So let me ask you this, like, what does a typical client look like for you that comes to you for help? Is it usually someone younger, like your age, that's going through a major health crisis, or is it older women who are dealing with hormones, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I would say there's a wide spectrum, but the average age when we boil it down is 39 years old. I just ran some numbers the other day. As you said, I'm very data driven, and I believe in not just guessing, but actually testing. And, so those numbers come into how I run my business. And yeah, most women that come to me, they are just around the 40-year mark. And there are some women that come to me with chronic gut issues, and I'm also seeing a lot of autoimmune conditions. And it's been 10, 20 years of being on a medication for their autoimmune, but they just can't figure out what is going on. And so from that, we're able to run comprehensive labs and then really understand what is the root cause of the autoimmune. It's not your immune system is hyperactive. It doesn't know what to do with itself, but why? And I find it to be so empowering for so many women when we get those results back, and I'm able to say, "Oh, this all makes sense now." 70 pages of lab results, and I just, shoop, this is our roadmap. This is what we need to do to get down on that healing journey.
That's amazing. I don't know if it's just because we have more information now, but it seems like the diagnosis of autoimmune diseases is has increased tenfold in the last 10 or 15 years. And it's fascinating to me just that it's so difficult to diagnose these things, right? And you just don't, I mean, I have friends that have, or friends of friends that have Epstein-Barr or these other autoimmune diseases that they don't know where this is coming from. And it could have been exposure to mold or all of these other things that started way back when. And until you do those labs and run those labs, the traditional Western medicine doctors don't really, and it's not even covered by insurance most of the time. You really have to dig deep to ask the questions to get to the point where you're getting to the bottom of what's going on. So
Yeah.
it's
There's a
tough.
lot of there's a lot of toxins, a lot more toxins than there were before. There's toxins in our skincare, there's toxins in our shampoo, there's plastics, right? All of these toxins. And then you bring in the mold that comes from buildings, or mold is in our food. Most coffees have mold in them. I love coffee. Oh, has mold in it. Okay, maybe not anymore.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
right? So there's just
Fascinating. I did not know that. So thank you for sharing. I'm going to have to find
yeah.
something else to wake me up in the morning.
Yeah, there's some clean coffees, but they're few and far between. And
Mm,
so I think that you think of it like a bathtub, right? The bathtub is just going to continue to fill with toxins over time.
mm,
And if you're not properly flushing the toxins out of your body, and a juice cleanse isn't going to cut it. If
okay.
you're it's there's on off switches in your body with what when it comes to toxins, because if it's not your body's not properly primed, you're not going to be able to get those toxins out, and then it creates a negative feedback loop in your body, and the toxins just keep circulating. And
Mm.
so that's what then causes the autoimmune. That's one reason why autoimmune will then keep struggling, is because we're not actually getting to the root of what's going on.
So typically, when you have a client come to you, are you looking first at their labs and then figuring out, okay, this is what the root cause is, so we need to remove X, Y, and Z from your diet? Or is it like you take every client through a cleanse of some kind that is, maybe a traditional, like, I don't know. I know there's all these cleanses that'll take out anti-inflammatories and other products that just kind of give you a baseline. Is it like a one fits all approach, or are you looking at the individual and saying, okay, these are the things we need to remove or figure out?
Yeah, it's very tailor-made. My middle name is Taylor, and I think my parents did that on purpose because I'm very personalized when it comes to my coaching. And so step one, when we get those labs back, is that, well, first, before we even get the labs back, we do a comprehensive lifestyle audit. So I'm going to look at your stress. I'm going to look at your sleep. I'm going to look at your environment. I'm going to look at how you're training. We're going to look at your movement, right? All of these different things that add to the quality of your life. What do your relationships look like? All of that matters. So I do a whole tell me from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed.
Wow.
That's like the very first step that we do. Then after that, we get the labs back. Now we have part of our foundation built so we can actually take the next step towards healing. And so usually most people's tests are like 70 pages of information. And so we get all the tests back and I walk them through, hey, this is your case review. This is exactly what I'm seeing. This is how this connects to this, connects to this, connects to this. They're like, oh, it all makes sense, right? So all those dots start connecting for them that they've been unanswered for 10, 15, 20 years.
Wow.
And then from there, depending on what we find out, we systematically work through the body. So we're not just gonna, hey, you have mold, let's get rid of the mold. No, we have to properly prepare the body. We have to reset the adrenals. We have to flush the body to be able to be ready to detoxify. We have to heal the gut. We have to focus on a bunch of other things, and it all is very systematic how we work through the body. And so in that stage, at every level, we're looking at your nutrition, we're looking at different supplementation, we're looking at your lifestyle. What kind of tweaks do we need to make? Do we need to pull back on your workouts this month? Do we need to do more this month? And then the last thing is some kind of peptides for some people that need that next level up. I think peptides are a tremendous healing mechanism as well.
Got it. That makes sense. So when people come to you, do you notice that there are some common threads among people who need more functional medicine focus? Is it like I'm having brain fog, or I'm like, are there particular symptoms that tend to keep coming up over and over again?
Yeah, I'm exhausted. I have brain fog. I'm always tired. I can't fall asleep, or I'm up between 2 to 4 a.m. I'm super bloated. I can't lose weight. I have chronic migraines.
Wow.
Those are just a few of them.
Yeah, those are all like symptoms that are really hard to pinpoint, right? Like where that could be coming from. And if you're going to your typical doctor and you're asking them, why am I so tired? They're going, I don't know, how many hours of sleep do you get a night? Well, I get 9 hours, but I'm still exhausted. Like, there's not this deep dive into what's really going on. And those are all symptoms that I think at one point or another, I can certainly admit that I've had. I mean, for most of my life, I had horrible chronic migraines, and I thought they were hormonal. And then it comes to find out, I don't even remember now what it was, that I looked back and something was going on in my life at that time, and it was all being manifested through an emotional trauma. So many things can trigger, these symptoms in your body, and having someone that's like you that takes the time to sit there and go through your lifestyle and your habits and what's going on in your relationships and everything is so important. And it must just be so fulfilling for you now to kind of come full circle from where you were and all your health journey, and now be able to do this for other women. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that's like impacted your life?
Yeah, I love that question. You touched on it so perfectly, like pain into purpose, and then purpose into power, and not my own power, but the power that God has instilled in me. And my hope, my heart is that people realize that optimal health is there for them so that they could come live life to the full, because I knew what it was like when my health was stripped from me. For many people, it happens gradually over time. For me, it happened overnight. And because it was that drastic, I said, there has got to be a better solution. And I'm going to go become part of this solution.
Yeah.
And so when I finally got to a place after my healing that I had the energy like I remembered that I always had, oh my goodness, it was so freeing. And something that just sits with me is like, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but we're made to live life to the full.
Yes.
And everyone deserves to feel that way. And for you to feel be told that your exhaustion, your brain fog, your fatigue is normal. It's not normal. And if you're looking at it through a lens that is normal, that encapsulates 95% of the population. We
Yeah.
want to be optimal, and we're put on this planet to go do excellent things. And so for me, that's where my heart is I know where and how horrible it was when my health was stripped from me. And I don't want other women to continue to endure that kind of suffering the way that I did.
Absolutely. And I think, previous generations, it was this suck it up mentality. You kind of just accepted that whatever you dealt with was either, cured by a pill, or you were kind of accepting that this was just the reality of your life. And we now know better, thanks to women like you who do the research and find out that there is a way, no matter what these doctors are telling me, there is a way to get to the bottom of my root cause. And for me and what I do, it's like I work with women to help them step into the life that they deserve to live and to live in their full purpose and passion. But they can't do that if they're not feeling well. Like nothing works if your body isn't optimal, right? And so I can't do my work. Like I have a lot of women who come to me and they've got all kinds of other stuff going on, and I'm not the expert in functional medicine. I'm not the expert. I can tell them to take care of themselves every day and go for walks and drink plenty of water and get a good night's sleep and all those things. But they can't function here and in their heart if they're not fully optimal in their body. And so someone like you is almost the first line of defense to getting them to that place where they can finally move forward with their optimal life and living life of true purpose and passion and joy every day, right?
Yeah,
So we need this. Yeah.
That's so beautiful, and it's right. It's so true. Like when I was at my sickest, all I could think about was myself. I'd never felt so selfish in my life because all I could focus on was how do I get better every single day. I couldn't think about my dreams. I couldn't think about my aspirations because it was hard enough for me to just get out of bed some days.
Right.
And that sounds really dramatic, but it was reality of where I was.
Yeah, and
And
it's tough being there, and then it's a mental game, right? Where you're like beating yourself up that you feel like I can't get out of bed. I feel exhausted. I don't feel well, and all I want to do is like live my life and be functional. But and then it's this whole back and forth. I've been there in a different way, and then you start beating yourself up, and that's not healthy because that's not getting you anywhere, and it's like this vicious cycle, right? So it's like you need to have these people in your life that are giving you answers and options to things that you can control. Like I think we can't control the things that happen to us. We only can choose to take advantage of all the opportunities that we do have to get ourselves better, to get ourselves healthy, and to be optimal as often as possible. And even then you're going to maybe have something else happen, but it's now you have the tools and the things that you can do to stay in that optimal place and get back to that optimal place. So I just love what you do, Amanda. You're such a gift to so many women. And you're, like you said, you're turned your pain into purpose and are now giving back to women who were in your shoes and helping them become optimal. And I'm so grateful to you for all the work that you do. So let me ask you this question. How can women work with you or reach out to you? What is the best way?
yeah, absolutely. We can put some information in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at Amanda Souks, short for Soukoulis. And my website is amandasouk.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. We'll definitely put all that info in the show notes, and we'll have all the ways that you can reach out to Amanda and connect with her about what she does and work with her if you're struggling with your health or anything that's going on. Even if you're having just migraines or feeling foggy and tired, it's worth reaching out and getting to the bottom of it so you can live an optimal life too. All right, Amanda, thank you so much for being here. And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for joining us each week. We will see you next week on Where Passion Meets Purpose. Thank you again for listening to Where Passion Meets Purpose. If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe and download it so you don't miss an episode every single week. And if you think you have a friend who might benefit from listening, please share it with them as well. If you'd like to contact me, you can always reach me through email on my website at jenmentasana.com and my social media, Jen_Mentasana. And you can DM me there and I'll always respond, and we can connect about topics on the show or anything else you'd like to discuss. Thanks again for tuning in.